Hey there! Today we're going to be talking about this pen. It was sent to me by my friend John, who said, you need this pen. So, thank you, John. I appreciate it. What an interesting piece. We are talking about the Writech Clictek with C's where you would expect K's and K's where you would expect C's, and it's a thing. This is the world's first retractable nib fountain pen, according to the manufacturer. Of course, let's forget about the Pilot Vanishing Point, Decimo, the Platinum Curadas, the Enso retractable. Sure. Now, having said that, it's certainly an interesting pen, and I enjoyed fiddling around with it. So I'm going to cover the parts of the pen, I'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. John, thanks again. Let's get started. Okay, so here we go with the Writech Clictek, the world's first retractable fountain pen. 0.38 millimeter nib, $22.50. You can get these in several colors. It's meant to have an airtight trap door, and you get 5 blue cartridges with it. The box was quite cool. There was kind of like a sort of a thing around the pen. I don't know how interesting it is to show you that. But the pen sits in it somehow. I forget how exactly, but it sat in there. And then at the bottom there's a strange kind of sort of placeholder cartridge that came with it, empty. You have that box, and then you have the actual pen, which I shall show you here next to a Pilot Metropolitan. So about the same size as a Metropolitan, but of course with that retractable nib. There's a couple of things quite interesting about this pen I found, so I'll show you the features and then I'll do a writing sample. On top of the pen, we just have this sort of plastic push knob, and I'll come back to that mechanism in just a bit. It is a bit sort of loose, so there is some noise with the pen. We have the clip. The clip is really quite rigid, and it's metal, which is good. I think plastic would snap off really easily. Interesting choice, because it feels a bit like an aluminum or something. A spacey theme on it, as you can see, and then we have the section is kind of that doesn't really taper. It's a little hard to show you, but it does have facets. Here's one. I'll try to make the light catch it right, but there you have it. So there's actually something for your fingers to hold on to. And then we have that mechanism. So you push, and then a whole trap door opens and hangs off of the side of the pen. And you have a small, like, little round, sort of tubular nib. Okay, the internal mechanism, you can unscrew this section. And you have the whole, like, clicky bit, which no longer clicks in there. We have one of those cartridges. They're kind of strange cartridges. It's not really standard international. And then here you can see the spring is also very hard and rigid. And then you have that mechanism again. I'll just try to put this all back together quickly. And so then you have the pen. Pretty decent size, I will say. It's certainly not super small. And it has a, like I said, 0.38 millimeter nib, so it's quite a fine nib. Now, sorry guys, I'm kind of coming down from a cold. Let's do a little bit of a writing sample. What I'm very curious to see is I have not used this pen for 2 weeks. And I did that on purpose because with retractable nib pens, sometimes they dry out really quickly. So let's see what we have here. This is the Writech. Was it Writech? Yes, and then Clictek. It's something. What we call this? Fine, maybe extra fine. 0.38 millimeters. And this is just the blue cartridge that came with it. Interesting proprietary shape. By the way, here's the box. I didn't show you that. Here's the box. I don't know what else. It's a box of cartridges that came in the pen box. So what I find very impressive is nothing dried out. And again, that's 2 solid weeks of non-use whatsoever. Impressive. That is genuinely impressive. Fast writing. This was not a skip, that was me. It's definitely very, very feedbacky. I find it not the most pleasant nib to use. Very fine. I tend to like broader nibs. I'm trying to not let that influence this. It is pretty scratchy, frankly. This is very smooth Rhodia paper. Quite dry. I might see if I can take this nib out and make it a little bit wetter. That might help. But there's even a little bit of like paper fiber on the nib. That's just how sharp it is. I don't know why you can see that, but it is there. Line variation. Naturally, not that much. You can squeeze out some variation, but as always, very careful. This is not advertised as being a flex nib, so be careful. Reverse writing, it's already very fine, and that's why you would do this if you do it at all. It gets even finer and scratchier, so there is that. But it is theoretically possible. I will say I kind of enjoyed the blue in the cartridge. It's kind of a nice deep blue. I did quite like that. So I think what we should do is talk about some likes and dislikes. What do I like and what do I not like about the Writech Clictek? Yes. You get what you pay for. I think this is a clear example of you don't pay an awful lot, $22.50. You get a cool pen, it's a cool mechanism, it's a bit of a conversation starter. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It feels plasticky, and at that point someone always says, well, it's a plastic pen, what did you expect? But there is plastic, and there is plastic in the way a pen feels. Some acrylics feel quite luxurious. Some plastics feel like really cheap, thin plastic, and this is more that case. But again, then you also don't pay that much for it. I do like that they have spent some time trying to design a cool box. It looks nice. You get a little box of cartridges. That's nice. It's a fairly complete set. They've put thought into it. There's a lot of action going on the finish, which makes me think that this would be a really good pen to gift a kid of an appropriate age, you know, that might like space, that sort of stuff. It's cool, and it does the job. It writes, and honestly, it writes solidly. I haven't had it skip or run dry or any of that kind of stuff. So I will say that about it. It seems to be solidly made, and that interesting mechanism. It's to me, it feels a little over-engineered, but it's also a bit like the cuckoo clock of fountain pens. Nib, nib, etc. Cool, and it works. So I feel that one should not be too harsh on a pen of this price. If it writes really quite nicely, it's a pretty cool pen. So there you have it. John, I appreciate you sending this to me. I do actually have enjoyed fiddling with it a bit. So it's fun. It's a fun pen. And that's all there's to it. And sometimes that's all that's required. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye!